From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, November 6th, 2016. Silver is trading at $18.43 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,304 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $711. Antiwar.com reports while early fighting in Mosul was presented as comparatively easy by Iraqi officials, as the troops near the city, the fighting is starting to get more fierce and the civilian population trapped in the area is increasingly caught in the crossfire. Increased fighting and higher population density are a dangerous combination, and locals by and large are being prevented from fleeing the area. Unsurprisingly, this is leading to reports of a growing number of civilians killed and wounded in the area. This has the PR people going into high gear, trying to manage the narrative around the deaths, with Western and Iraqi officials accusing the Islamic State of forcing civilians into the city to use as human shields and preventing them from relocating outside the city. While some reports suggest this may be accurate, the U.S. has also talked openly of conducting airstrikes against all fighters fleeing the city, which has led the Iraqi government to openly warn the civilian population of Mosul against fleeing, lest they get targeted as well. Civilians being mistaken for fleeing the Islamic State fighters has been an ongoing problem for the U.S., who has killed hundreds of civilians around the Syrian city of Manbij in such mistakes. Manbij was a much smaller city than Mosul, which has a population of over 1 million people potentially in the line of fire. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court sided with Republicans and ordered a law in Arizona banning ballot collecting by third-party groups can stand in Tuesday's election. Republicans in Arizona passed the ballot collection law, making it a felony punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a $150,000 fine for someone to turn in a ballot that is not their own. Exceptions were included for family members, roommates, and caregivers. Democrats fought the law in court, arguing it would disproportionately affect minorities. Some minority communities and Native Americans in rural parts of the state have come to rely on third-party groups to deliver mail-in absentee ballots, then collect them and drop them off at a polling place on Election Day. Many of the most rural Indian reservations do not have a reliable mail service. Republicans argued the practice, which they refer to as ballot harvesting, invites voter fraud. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals struck down the law on Friday, which would have allowed the practice to go forward. The state immediately filed a stay of the decision to the Supreme Court. The High Court granted a stay of the Ninth Circuit Court ruling pending a review by the full panel of judges set for January. The effect could be a significant one in Tuesday's election. Most pollsters regard Arizona, which has been a safe Republican state for much of the last half-century, as one of the nation's closest battlegrounds between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Democrats are relying on a large turnout of Hispanics to push them over the top. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Californians are expected to pass a ballot measure on Election Day legalizing recreational cannabis, and the prospect has cities and counties seeing dollar signs. Proposition 64 would impose state taxes on the cultivation and sale of cannabis, but it would also allow local jurisdictions to add taxes of their own, something many cities and counties said they plan to do. The Economist warned that burdensome taxes and fees on the nascent industry could backfire, fueling the black market and pushing cannabis businesses to decamp from towns where it's cheaper to operate. For many city and county officials across California, however, the promise of new revenue to fill budget gaps and fund services is too alluring to pass up. More than 60 local cannabis measures will appear on ballots across California in Tuesday's elections. In Monterey, officials said new local cannabis taxes and fees, if approved, could bring in $30 million, nearly double the county's $16 million budget deficit. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.